What's going on, champs and chambettes? It's FireMonkey here, and in the very near future, in the next update most likely, we're going to be seeing more and more NPCs and stuff added to the Fortnite island with a brand new boss that will actually be able to combat for a new weapon, or I guess a remastered weapon, or maybe even an alpha version of a weapon, very soon. So with that said, in today's YouTube video, I'll be telling you everything you need to know about this upcoming update, and what you should just be prepared for, right? And how it might even have some lore implications regarding Sloan, and regarding, some new characters from the current battle pass that we're currently in. So what does this all relate to? Well, it relates to the brand new Relik skin that was added to the game and is in the battle pass right now with the brand new season. This skin was something that kind of just, came out of the blue. No one was really anticipating it until, we got the teasers and everything. And it wasn't even like leaked early or anything like that, right? It just kind of popped up one day and like, oh, here's a new skin. And at first people were thinking it was going to be the bonus skin for the season, which ended up being none other than, Summer Meowscles, or I guess Paradise Meowscles. So it was one of those things where a lot of people thought this skin was going to be important to the storyline in one way or another, and it does appear that the skin actually is going to be important to the storyline in some sort of way because of the fact that it's going to be an upcoming jungle boss NPC in the game, meaning that in a future update this will be one of the instantly hostile enemies that we'll be able to actually fight in the game and combat, in order to get ourselves some free weapons, including a brand new mythic weapon, which is actually the alpha version of a weapon we've seen before. But before we showcase that weapon, I think I'm going to go ahead and play this video for you guys right now so you can see a special animation that only this NPC does in the game. Special animations are something we don't always see for boss NPCs, but we started seeing them more and more with NPCs like the Herald, where Herald had, that one emote where they're kind of like looking over the globe and everything else like that. This emote is not going to be sold in the battle pass or anything like that, and it doesn't appear like we'll be able to obtain it through any normal means at all, but it is kind of used for the Wild Guard Relik skin and, just the NPC boss whenever he's surveying the area in the jungle and kind of just watching out for whatever is going on. And it's an interesting way for Epic Games to kind of, give more lore and make this NPC feel more alive by giving it a custom emote, which kind of, plays into this whole entire character's theme of, being a jungle boss, right? Basically, the whole entire theme of the character literally having its own little areas trying to defend, and how it might actually relate to the Sloan situation because of the fact that when it comes to this character, and if you pay attention to Sloan's dialogue when you talk to them as Relik, Sloan actually mentions something along the lines of Relik actually saving Sloan, right? So maybe Relik was the person behind the scenes this entire time who helped Sloan to safety when everything was going on, the live events and everything happened, and we basically lost Sloan. We thought Sloan was, crushed by a tank or whatever else, and maybe Relik has been there behind the scenes this entire time to actually play the savior role for Sloan. Of course, when it comes to storyline stuff, we never really know what truly is going on here, and at any time, Epic Games can just be like, oh, what you thought was true was actually a lie, so it's always just kind of, a theorizing game. But you know what, that's a little bit of the fun when it comes to this stuff, right? Just taking a wild guess and being like, this is something that might be happening very soon, and this is something that makes sense to me, it gives you a little bit of your own headcanon lore to put into the game, until Epic Games has their own official lore they throw at us, whether it be through a Fortnite comic or something like that later down the line. But when it comes to the actual, Wild Guard Relik NPC that's going to be a boss we'll fight in the near future, something that's very interesting about this NPC is the weapon they drop. And that is none other than the MK Alpha Assault Rifle, which you're seeing in the bottom left of the screen right now. This weapon is not just your normal, MK7 reskinned weapon, because of course, it has new stats and everything, but it's the quote-unquote alpha version. It's basically the exact same weapon minus the 7 branding, but in terms of lore, since they call it the MK Alpha, it makes me wonder if in the past, right, back when we were helping the 7 out, remember when the 7 were like needing tons of war funds and everything to fund a war? What if the whole entire thing that was going on during that situation was that we actually managed to take this MK7 and it wasn't originally, the 7 technology. It was taken from the Reliks, organization or whatever, whether it be borrowed, whether it be stolen, anything like that, and it was used as a way to kind of, make their own technology that, Sloan and them haven't seen yet in order to help against their war effort. And it's just a little bit of a thing to theorize about, is just since this is the alpha version, what if the 7 version was a version that was technically after the existence of this alpha version and was made with the whole entire purpose of being like, hey, we made our own revolutionized technology that totally wasn't stolen from anyone else and just given a pretty paint job. It's just something that's kind of nice to theorize about, and it's always just fun messing around with this type of stuff. So I'd love to hear in the comments down below, what do you think about the lore is going on right now? Do you think that Relik saves Sloan, do you think that the 7 stole the MK7 assault rifle from Relik's organization or whatever? What do you think's going on with that situation? I would just be interested to see what everyone's headcanons are right now and what they're thinking of when it comes to the storyline. But other than that, something else we can talk about is the actual stats of the weapon itself. When it comes to the stats, one thing I can mention right away is that they may change before they release, because as of right now, it doesn't appear like we're actually going to be seeing it anytime soon, and the reason I say that is because the weapon stats they're using is test weapon 2, and typically whenever there's a weapon that's in the files that uses test weapon stats, it means, while yes, it is prepared, and while yes, they can release it when they want to, it doesn't exactly mean that they're going to be able to release it right away without changing the stats beforehand. Of course, they could hotfix stuff or whatever, but typically when we've seen Epic Games have test weapon stats in the past, they wait until a future update when those weapon stats have an actual weapon ID to them that isn't just test weapon before they release it into the game, because, you know, it allows it to just be a lot more easier to understand for Epic Games developers in the future when they're trying to, you know, hotfix a weapon or something like that. So instead of trying to hotfix test weapon 2, they can just hotfix MK Alpha assault rifle or red dot AR type of thing, right? So it's just something that we may see change in the future before it releases. But in terms of stats, when it comes to the common version of the weapon, it does a close range damage of 22 with a headshot damage of 33. It does a mid-range damage of 20.9, and yes, you'll hear a lot about like decimal numbers in these actual damage statistics, with a headshot damage of 31.35. It does a long range damage of 19.8 with a headshot damage of 29.7, and then when it comes to the actual ammo count and fire rate, this will be standardized across all versions of the weapon. It has an ammo count of 30 bullets per clip and a fire rate of 7 bullets per second, so that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on here and how fast this weapon's actually going to be firing once we get access to it in the game, assuming of course they don't change the weapon stats off of the test weapon ones in the near future. Regarding the uncommon weapon stats, mind me, it does a close range damage of 23 with a headshot damage of 34.5, a mid-range damage of 21.85 with a headshot damage of 32.78, and you know it's hard to shoot in the game while actually trying to read all this off, a long range damage of 20.7 with a headshot damage of 31.05, and a reload time of 3.675 seconds, which is a little bit faster than the common one, which had a reload time of 3.85 seconds. For the rare rarity, it does a close range damage of 24 with a headshot damage of 36, a mid-range damage of 22.8 with a headshot damage of 34.2, a long range damage of 21.6 with a headshot damage of, oh, hold on one second here, 32.4, and then when it comes to the actual reload speed, it reloads at a time of 3.5 seconds, so you know, once again getting faster and faster with the reload and doing slightly more damage as we go up into the higher rarities. For epic rarity, it does 1 more damage for all the stats and everything, so for close range it does 25 damage with a headshot damage of 37.5. I really need to focus on shooting in the game apparently. For mid range it does 23.75 damage with, you know, 35.625 as the headshot damage. For long range it does 22.5 damage with 33.75 as the headshot damage, and then it has a reload time of 3.325 seconds. For legendary, it does 26 damage at close range with a 39 headshot damage multiplier. At mid range, it does 24.7 damage with a headshot of 37.05 damage. And then at long range, it does 23.4 damage with a headshot of actually 35.1 as the headshot damage. And then it has a reload time of 3.15 seconds. And as you can tell, it's kind of hard to look at my other monitor and read all these off while in the middle of combat. But finally, for the mythic version, which will be dropped by the actual Wildguard Relic boss when it releases in the game. Did my whole entire computer just crash? Oh, I am sorry about that, guys. This is one scuffed recording, I know, but you know what? It is what it is. Anyways, like I was saying, for the mythic version, which is dropped by the Wildguard Relic boss NPC, it does 28 close range damage with a headshot damage of 42. It does 26.6 mid-range damage with a headshot damage of 38.9, and then it does a long range damage of 25.2 with a headshot damage of 37.8. So overall, you know, the stats are all pretty similar, but the, you know, the mythic version, of course, is going to be the best one you want if you want the fastest reload and the most damage, because on top of that, the reload time is only 2.975 seconds, and then everything else pretty much has stayed the same. And with that said, I think another little bonus comment question of the day for you guys is, do you think these stats are going to be changed before release? And if they are changed, what do you hope gets changed? I've heard a lot of people saying that they hope the clip size gets up from 30 bullets in, a clip to 35, just to have, a few extra bullets in this MK Alpha assault rifle. And then I've heard other people saying that, this is perfectly fine the way it is. So I'd love to hear in the comments down below, what do you guys currently think on the stats and everything? And what do you think about Wildguard Relic being an upcoming boss in the game and potentially having some lore implications when it comes to Sloan and that entire storyline? But with that said, my name is FireMonkey. Hope you champs and champions enjoyed today's YouTube video. I am actually about to go in this recording, edit it together, and then start streaming over on my other channel for the Xbox Games Showcase. So if you would like to stop by and watch that, assuming you're watching this video right when it came out, go ahead. My channel is going to be mentioned in the description as usual, and I'll see you guys there. But I think just to end this video off, I'm just going to go ahead and eliminate this final bot. So peace out.